Welcome to Landria ONkka on YouTube. I came here on this planet to help you break through the fears and live an awesome life. Who knows who and what we are, but I want to talk today about that role, about who you believe you are, and how you can change absolutely anything about that story, about that perception of yourself, and about how the world thinks of you. Not that we give a crap, right? Because the truth is, we create our own reality. And everybody else, well, they're in control of theirs. It's very early. It's a very cloudy day today. One of those cozy days. And I have to go clean out my basement in the other house. You know, accumulating things can be a burden. It's time for us to lighten the load. We're going to lighten the load in a lot of areas. I just gave so much yesterday to charity, and I have another huge load of stuff going to charity this week. It felt really good to know that the things, those items that I have that I've been hanging on to, and I didn't think I had a lot that I was doing that with. It felt really good to know that people are going to actually use them. They're going to be enjoyed. And I think so many times we just go through life accumulating stuff that we're not enjoying, right? We're not sharing our own gifts, or we're accumulating things that aren't good and we're hanging on to it. That goes with our personal lives. So I want to talk to you about that. I want to talk about your story. Now, I've done videos on this before, but I don't know where they are. You'd have to go find them. I want to talk about the comments I'm getting from you guys that made me realize that we have to have a discussion about this. People are telling me that my videos are helping them incredibly, and they're sharing stories that are shifting right down to, you know, financial abundance, relationships, how they feel about themselves, their health. You know, just an epiphany, realizing that all these thoughts that they're having are exactly what's creating that outside world. Nobody else is doing that. No one else is doing that. Because you and I could see the exact same thing, and I could have a different story in my head about it. And therefore my world might be something just amazing. And I could see it as something as part of our, you know, evolution here, our journey. And you might see it as a horrible, you know, situation, a place, you know, an earth that is horrible and on its way to, you God knows what kind of destruction. And I see another planet that is on its way to ascension. It's all happening up here in your head. I did the manifest anything, 3-second manifest, advanced manifesting. That takes you down to the beliefs. So we took the 3-second manifesting, and that is taking a negative thought, catching yourself, and switching over to a positive one. But herein is the challenge with most of us. We have a story. We have a story in here, so that positive belief, we go into it, but then we keep going into the negative one because we still have the story there. So that video, I would like you to do both of them. There's 3-second manifest video, and then my manifest anything 3-second advanced manifesting. That's when we talk about the belief behind that negative thought. Before we even go over here to the positive thought, what is the belief behind the negative thought? Well, most people have a story. So if I asked you what your story was, you'd probably say, oh, I was an abused child, you know, and I was never loved, or, you know, this is, and there's a story. I have friends, they tell the story, the same story over and over again. I mean, you know, they're retirement age, some of them, and they're still telling the damn story about when they were 5 years old and mommy and daddy didn't love them. They're seeing the story as something negative, not a triumph. They see it as damage that's been done to them. And here's what I want to talk about. The comments I have coming over are people saying, I have PTSD, I've heard that a lot. I have ADD. I'm this, I'm that, and there's all these labels coming over about who and what they think they are. Many of them they've been told they are. I have PTSD. Oh, I didn't know that my problems were that I have this affliction. Now I have this label. And these labels are being adopted by you and believed that that's who and what you are. So that's part of your story. So now that energy, it's an energy of something negative, is labeled on you. It covers you like a veil. This is what we're trying to break through, is the veil, the matrix. We're breaking out of it. The matrix is that you are sick, that your depression requires drugs, that if you have trauma, that what these feelings you're having are not good. They're negatives, and we have to, we have to do something with that and drug it or whatever. We're not allowing ourselves to experience the journey and saying this is part of my journey, and then moving forward through it, using it and seeing it as something valuable. We are saying that this shouldn't happen. Now I'm damaged, and here's what I am, and we're going to battle it. We're going to battle it and try and make it go away, and that's what the whole prescription thing is. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not here to give you any kind of medical or mental health advice. I'm here to give you spiritual guidance. And I do believe that absolutely everything, this is my opinion, absolutely everything is coming from you, controlled by you, and can be cured by you. Why? Because you are the one essence of everything, where all solutions are, where all ideas are, where everything rests. None of us own anything. You don't own an idea. Inventors don't own their stuff. We're the only ones that try to own everything. Own land. We're on a planet. How can we own anything where we separate ourselves from other people? This is how things should be. This is who you should be. This is how, you should live, or how the world works. And it's bullshit. Sorry for swearing. It's Sunday too. Sorry. But it is. All of it. All of it. All of it. I know that's tough for a lot of you. Well, what about this? But we don't show our butts on this. No butts are allowed on my channel, okay? There's no but. You get to decide what your reality is. Are you a person with PTSD? Or did you experience something traumatic, and now you're going to look at it and ask yourself, what did you agree to in advance so that you could experience that, and what are you going to do with it to evolve your spiritual self? Because that happened for a reason, and we fight it and say it shouldn't happen. And here is the label of who I am. I'm a damaged, negative person. So let's say it's not even an event. Let's say you don't think you're good looking, or you were born not so smart, or according to the planet's rules, the matrix idea of what smart is. Everybody has equal talent and brilliance. We're the ones that make up all these rules and tests in school, and if you don't, pass all these tests, you're stupid. Well, then I guess we'd have to take our top geniuses and call them stupid, because most of them did not do well in school. Why? They were way beyond that thinking. Autism, all these things. We're labeling everything. This is what you are, and it's negative, and it shouldn't be happening. Let's try and fix it. There's nothing to be fixed. What label do you have that you're fighting? Because you chose it. I want you to understand you chose it. Now, I know you don't want to believe that. Most people don't want to believe that. I wouldn't choose this. Well, I'm sorry, but you did. Get over it. So the battle begins. I didn't choose it. So then now you become a victim. Oh, somebody afflicted on this. You were jackass in your last time and you're being punished. No. No, in fact, you might have been Gandhi in your last time. You're coming here to take on something really big to show once again that you can overcome the most challenging situations. Because you're not looking at it as something that's damaging. You're saying, okay, this is the journey I chose. I could be a really great example. I could also evolve even higher than I did in my last lifetime. And I took on a big challenge this time because I am prepared for it. But then we get here and we're not prepared for how quite challenging it is. What label have you given yourself? What story have you given yourself that is holding you back? I'd say 90% of you have one. a negative story, and also one that of what you have done or been maybe years ago. You're still punishing yourself for doing stupid crap. Oh yeah, none of us have ever done that, right? And people will label you as that person who was a jerk, or as that person who cheated, or as that person who stole, or as that person who was a drug addict, or who are you right now? Because you can change anything. And you don't have to be any one thing. I don't think that I'm any one thing. I evolve constantly. In fact, that's probably my story, is that I love to evolve and expand. My journey is never going to be over in the way that I'm choosing. And most people, they feel like their journey is over. They've given up on life. They struggle against it. I don't want to be here. And then you therefore create that exact life by even saying it, because you're believing it. Right? The 3-second manifesting. What do I have to believe to have that thought? Everything's coming from a belief. All of it's coming from a belief. And then the creation from the thought, from the belief, brings it into manifestation. It's that simple. This is why my simple 3-second manifesting, 3 seconds, and it really is 3 things. The negative thought, switching over to something positive. You can include, what negative thought do I have to have? What negative belief do I have to have the negative thought? And then switching over to the positive one. 3 steps. There's a thought, negative. There's a thought, positive. Which belief are you going to choose? What belief are you going to choose? You are not that person that you believe you are, unless you believe you are. You're the only one choosing it, because when you believe something really dynamic, nothing, and you have to believe it, that's faith. Not, well, I believe it, and then, first time somebody says something, you're, When you believe something, and you know what you are, nothing anybody says to you can change that. Why is their opinion more valid than yours? See, we value other people's opinion because the ego needs approval. That's bullshit. Oops, I swore again. Let me have a cup of coffee. Maybe I need more coffee. I'm going into a no tolerance attitude right now. No tolerance. And somebody says, all right, one of my students from my internet training, I hope this works. Well, make it work. It's an education with tools. But it's not going to do anything for you. You are in control. If you want it to work, it'll work. Do the work. And so we're always looking for everything else outside of us. We want approval from people. We want to fit in. We want to be the story that's acceptable. We want our story to be right. And sometimes we're living false stories to get approval. And that's not who we are at all. Right? You're supposed to be the good kid. And if you're not, you're labeled. It is time to stop being that person that you've labeled yourself or others have labeled you as, that you're believing. And as long as you believe it, they'll continue to label you that way. If you don't believe it, you are actually putting out an energy that that's not who you are. So what happens? You start to act differently. You start to be the person who's not with PTSD. All right, I had a situation. What am I going to do with it? It's not who I am. What is happening right now in my life? And you can sit and go talk to shrinks all you want, because they love you to rack up those bills, and I'm not talking about all of them. What do you think they do for a living? They get paid to have you sit and talk for the rest of your life. To do what? You're just sitting there focusing on the negative crap. Do you ever go in there and talk about all the possibilities in your life, and that's all you talk about? No, you talk about how you felt and how did that make you feel, and you already were there. You don't need to talk about it again, all right? Okay, I know how I felt. Why are we talking about it? What am I going to do right now? Who do I want to be right now? You can change that constantly. You can change it every day if you want. I can be the artist. I can be the creative person. I can be the responsible person. You can do anything you want, but make it a positive one. Because that is when you're going to send out the vibes to this planet. That's who you are, a positive person, and the response you'll get will be positive, and therefore opportunities will come to you. But you can hang on and label yourself something all day long. It will be true. Are you ready to give it up? Why does there have to be any story? Why do we have to be anything? Right? Yeah, we have these costumes, big whoop. It doesn't stop us from crossing over into everything, experiencing other cultures and other people's interests and getting involved in things that maybe we weren't born into. You can do anything you want. Let's give up the labels. I'm a depressed person. Somebody said that I was being judgmental because the person in the basement, somebody told me that they're 30, they live in their parents' basement, they're depressed, they're on drugs, they have no prescription drugs, you know, they have no job, all this stuff. And I said, that's sad. And I was, you know, the response was that I was judging them. No, I'm not judging them. It's sad that that's who they think they are. For me, it's sad. Because I feel for this planet. I feel for others. I have compassion for others. And it's sad for me is that you don't even know who and what you are right now when you say that. That makes me sad. Not judging it. What's to judge? They're choosing that path. And when they stop saying, I'm a depressed person, I'm a 30-year-old living in my basement, they will change the story and say, well, I'm going through a transition period right now. Thank goodness I have parents that'll take me in. I'm 30 and I'm going to decide what I want to do with the rest of my life. And, well, I'm a little sad, but that's okay, because this too shall pass. And I don't want to be sad, so I think I'm going to go do some things, since I have time, because I'm not working, to go become somebody awakened. I think I'm going to meditate more, and I'm going to explore what my possibilities are to earn some money so that I can get out of this situation, because I don't really want to stay in my parents' basement for the rest of my life. It can be really that simple. This person may be addicted to unhappiness. I'm sure you saw that video. It's almost like it's who they are. It's who I am. And yes, that does make me sad, because we are so amazing with all capabilities. And when we tell ourselves that story and we share the story with others, we're believing it. We're seeing our own story as something negative, not something we're going through or something we're experiencing, or most of all, a transition period is probably the most amazing, powerful time periods in your life. When you're going through those things, that's when everything changes. That person you were, you're no longer going to be that. And people think, oh, you know, you're taking a step down. No, this is transition, right? You're going to bloom. But not if you believe that's who you are and that you're down here, you're going to stay down here. If you see yourself as in that cocoon and knowing that, well, maybe a caterpillar doesn't look so pretty in the cocoon. I think it's beautiful, but not as beautiful as that butterfly might be, right? But it's all beautiful. It just looks differently at different stages. So I want you to understand that everything's just a transition period. And if you label yourself something negative, and you don't see that you're in the transition of breaking through certain things that you've experienced that you chose, herein lies the challenge. We don't believe we chose it. We're victims. It shouldn't happen. I'm going to fight it. Wah, wah, wah. Is that where you want to live your life? Is that where you want to stay? Being unhappy, saying this shouldn't happen? As soon as you let that go, it will change. And you'll see the beauty and you'll get excited because you realize, wait a minute. I'm supposed to get out of this relationship. I hit rock bottom and I keep getting the messages. I told you at my house, I was like, okay, do I renovate this place? What am I going to do? Amazing, amazing house. Everybody walks in and goes, oh, this is an amazing house. Well, on Christmas Eve, the refrigerator went out, the water heater went out, the dishwasher stopped working, the basement flooded several times. This is all within a few days, by the way. And then a huge branch came down and hit my deck. A second one came down a few days later, and I said, I get it. Renovating's not a good idea for me. I'll let somebody else do it. So the architect's over there right now. Somebody's going to make that house beautiful, and I'm in a beautiful place focusing on the things that I should, because renovating a house is not a good use of my time. And now I'm in a most amazing space that I never expected, in a completely different area that I'd have never explored had I not been in that situation. I never thought for a moment this was a negative thing. In fact, when I'm over there, cleaning up the house right now, it doesn't even cross my mind that this is a sad ending. I think it is a wonderful beginning and a wonderful thing that this house is going to look beautiful and somebody else will love it. All those things I'm giving away right now, somebody else is going to love it. Nothing dies. Nothing ends. We transition. So can you transition out of this story and this label you've told yourself that you're believing, and change the story and understand that it is beautiful and that you are going into something amazing and that you have never gone through anything without a very positive, meaningful purpose. And you have to start recognizing that, or you're never going to appreciate why you came here and why you chose those situations. You're always going to be the victim. We're done being the victim. No more excuses. I have no tolerance right now. I used to make excuses for friends and stuff, and even myself. We all do that. We make excuses. Oh, well, I'm not feeling good, or this or that, or... It's a load of crap. We know it. End the story that's negative, and tell yourself the story that's going to make you soar, that's going to open up the doors for every probability. You're going to see them. They're all there. You get to choose it. You just switch into that frequency. You don't have to attract anything. Switch into the frequency, and you can't do that if you're telling yourself that you are a depressed person with PTSD. It's a disorder? There's no such thing as a disorder. We're human beings. We're experiencing things for a reason. There's no disorder. We do everything ourselves. Get the value out of it. Ask yourself what you need to do with it. Ask yourself what you need to change to transition to something higher. Ask yourself what you need to let go of that you believe defines you, because it doesn't. Only you do that. It doesn't matter what the world dictates. You have your individual life to choose. You chose your story, you chose your path, and you can change anything about it. So start working on that right now. What is your new story? Choose it. Choose it. And then you'll start living it. But you have to believe it and let go of that label or the story or the affliction or whatever illness you think you have. Illnesses are literal, Internalizing anger, back problems, shoulder problems. Look at your outside world and how you're behaving, how you think of it. What changes do you need to make? In your beliefs, your actions, your thoughts? You don't have to believe it anymore. No one has those answers but you. No one. Bless anybody who has labeled you something negative. Bless them. They're in their own hell. Because that kind of thinking is hell. That's hell. And anybody can get out of it anytime they want. We're all equally powerful and beautiful. You're whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. I'm going to have my banana bread. No, I'm not going to eat all of this. Well, at some point I will. Then I'm going over to my house to clean out that basement, and I'm never going to have a basement again. It just collects stuff you don't need. Blessings, my friend. Namaste.